Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Bourbon Over Baseball with your host Bob and co-host Peter.
Happy Thanksgiving to Bob and all of our listeners out there. Great to be talking today about the Houston Astros.
Yeah, we Peter got caught into the Thanksgiving mode.
Yeah, it turns out my grandma in central Wisconsin doesn't have Wi-Fi. So the Dodger the Dodger card making got a little delayed, but luckily Bob is ahead of schedule. So it
Yes,
all worked
yes.
out.
So don't worry, all the Dodgers fans. It's coming. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you get the former World Series champs, but this year just as good.
They are quite the team.
Yes.
Starting right off the top at catcher, you got Martin Maldonado, and I expect he'll get drafted in a lot of leagues with his plus 11 arm.
Oh yeah. I mean, this guy in my leagues, people love +8 and above, really +10, +11. The old Henry Blancos, and there was Alberto Castillo got drafted all the time.
Ooh,
Um,
gotta love Alberto.
yeah, I mean, you're talking about low salaried, you punt catcher. You don't really care that you're always going to get out. You're drafting him for fielding.
Yep.
That's what this guy is going to be for. That's all he is good for, in my opinion. But how do you see him in the regular? Probably not doing much on the regular team.
Yeah, no, and same with the hitting, but the regular team, that plus 11 arm is so key. In our 2017 league, everybody traded for this type of cheap catcher to plug in the ninth spot and just throw guys out. Because when you can just completely nullify the other team on the base paths, it's such a huge advantage. You just take away the extra base hits, potency, and keep guys at bay, which is key if you've got any sort of ace on the mound.
Yeah, I mean that helps a lot, and then what I do like about this centralized set with it just being 2018 is you're not like in my draft where I drafted so many different sets. There was too many arms. Now there's only a
Yeah.
handful of arms that are so strong. So will someone punt catcher? Maybe for this guy. Will someone go for a more of a power catcher? But I think you're right. I think he's getting drafted for sure. I love
Yeah.
his artwork. We went with the orange background. This was your sort of design from the 2017 World Champs George Springer and Houston Astros cards. So we just kept that going with the orange, and they look very vibrant and very excellent.
Yeah, because originally it was just sort of the alternate quote unquote foil edition in
Yes.
the 2017 World Series team, but making it the main background, I think, was just a fantastic move, and they look really, really sharp.
Yes, I mean everyone that I've showed them to with the alt cards that you had made, they really like the orange pop that these
Yeah.
have. So these are going to look great for everyone as well. Now for the catchers especially, I tried to get as many catchers throwing the ball that I could.
Ooh.
So with Martin, you're going to have him trying to gun down a runner. So you really can get this feel for this orange background. The guy's throwing the ball out. He's got the great arm. So this card will look and feel like it's supposed to.
That's really, and then moving along, we've got Yuli,
Yes.
who, his only real value here is he gives you a little flexibility because he gains some third base eligibility, which
Hmm.
surprised me. But you're on base seven with a big double range who probably won't get drafted much because he gets out so much.
Yeah, he's not the best. Probably better in real life for his team than he was in the showdown. But just your average player. I mean, he might find a spot somewhere, but nothing too special.
Next is a guy I think both of us would like to draft and target, although he's probably going to disappoint some fans. Jose Altuve did not qualify for a home run this year.
No, but talk about what he was last year, because in my showdown league, he got drafted very quickly. He was a stellar
Oh,
card.
yeah, last season, 500 points, great defense, speed A, I think 21 or 22. And he's a guy who hit a home run at 19 with an on base 10, double at 15. He brought all around versatility, kind of the ideal either leadoff or number two hitter for a lot of teams. Unfortunately, this year, although his on base still good enough for a 10, he declined kind of precipitously power wise, only 13 home runs compared to 24 the year before, 29 compared to 39 doubles. So he dropped a little bit, and now this year, no home run, only 18 to 20 home run, good single plus range, but just not quite the same player as last year.
No, and I mean he was the MVP last
Yeah.
year, and that's what his card shows. And obviously he wasn't even the top candidacy for this year, and it kind of shows that too. But he's still a great hitter. What we're
Yeah.
gonna like about him is you're talking about a 10,
Ooh.
330 points. I mean, this is a steal for a lot of people to get high on base guys that don't mind giving up the home runs, or giving away. This is like the old, what was it, FP Santiago? I forget his name.
Oh yeah, no, and
So
basically Santangelo or
yeah,
something
something
like
like that. The
that.
Giants player. You're talking about a 10 that without the home run, it's like, do you want this kind of guy on your team? I mean, I personally do. I like 10s, whether they can hit home runs or not. They're getting on base.
Yeah, and I think if you could get him and Lorenzo Kane as fast guys to go 1-2 in sort of the old school lineup,
Yep.
where you're trying to get two leadoff guys right off the bat to set it up for some power guys, you're going to have a lot of ducks on the pond.
Oh, yes, for sure. Now, speaking of, we'll keep going down here. Getting a little bit more of the power with Carlos Correa, who kind of dropped off at the end of the year. He got his injury. Definitely disappointing this card versus last year.
Yeah.
But just your average card here. Not great. 7 on base, 18 to 20 home run. Nothing too special here. But let's move really quickly into the reason that you want
Yeah.
those guys on base is Alex Bregman.
Ooh, and this guy basically has Jose Altuve's card. That was the MVP. He's
Yep.
basically MVP Jose Altuve.
I mean,
Home run at 19, double at 15, little less speed, not a lot of defense, but gets on at 4 and gives you a lot of pop.
yeah, I mean, he's got multiple position eligibility. He was in the running this year as an MVP candidate. He just crushed doubles. I mean, he was
Yeah.
just hitting those. I think he had over 50 this year.
Yep.
But yeah, what a great player. Great card. You mean this is the guy you're talking about, a 500-point card. This is the guy you're going to want. You're going to want a power hitter. That's a 10. That's barely
Yeah.
going to get out. That's what this guy is, and he is great for that.
Yeah, build your lineup around this guy, draft him early, and then get either a good defensive shortstop or third baseman later. Gives you the flexibility to choose and opens it up for more positional variety. Really, really good pick early in a draft.
And the next one we got is a free agent candidate this year, so who knows what he'll be in the pennant edition. But
Yeah.
and the reason he's so good as a free agent is because he plays so many positions, which is
Yeah.
hard for me to throw on a card. So I threw as many positions as I could on this card that he at least played enough positions at. But this guy can really play every position in real baseball. But talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, so Marwin, very similar to Carlos Correa. Actually, very, very similar. Both get on at 7, both double at 14, both homer at 18. Thing is, Marwin gives you that positional flexibility, can play second and both corner outfields as well as shortstop, which gives him the 10 extra points on Carlos Correa.
Yeah, he's very flexible. I feel like as a 210 point player here, he's gonna find a spot somewhere. Just people like to go,
Definitely.
I need a guy here, and I don't know anybody listening, but there are people that play injury leagues. This guy can fit into multiple positions, coming off the bench without hurting you. He's an interesting player.
Especially if you're in a league where bench players are 1/5 points. He might be a really valuable guy to either stash on your bench to bring in later in the game, or I know a lot of players in those type of leagues, and this is why I don't play 5th point leagues. They put their superstars on the bench and bring them in later. This way, you can move Marwin around on your defensive side as you move stars in later in the game. Gives you a little extra taste there where maybe you have him in the corner outfield to start and then move him to second base and your punt defensive second baseman comes out late in the game.
Yeah, I can't stand the 5th point bench leagues. I've tried those, don't like them. I do
Not a
either
fan.
full bench or no bench. But I've heard about these injury leagues, and it makes me really kind of excited. Because the idea is that this guy can't play all the time, so you do have to have somebody on your bench, or the guys don't play every day. I mean, some guys do and some guys don't. But let's move along to George Springer, who was a stellar card last year, still pretty good this year.
Yeah, another big drop off, and it makes me really, I guess, enticed by how good the Astros can be next year with sort of assuming Correa and Springer bounce back to their 2017 form, and Altuve possibly picks it up a little bit, because if they mix with Bregman, they may have the best lineup in baseball. Unfortunately, Springer, kind of a down year, still an on-base 8, but only 19 to 20 homer, real big fall off from his on base 9 homer at 17 in the 2017 set.
Yeah, he got drafted early in my draft because of the what he looked like in 2017. We'll see if he gets drafted this year. On base eights are still good in a closed league, but yeah, definitely a disappointment.
And then Josh Reddick, another guy who fell off a lot from one year to the next, went from an on base 9 to an on base 6, but at least gives you some pop in it, and he gets on at 3 with some good fielding and
Yeah.
decent speed.
That's what you're doing. I mean, you're getting this guy because he's playing left field or right field as a +2. Definitely okay in the base path, and if you ever get the advantage, he can give you some pop. I mean, that's what he really is.
Yeah.
So-
And speaking of a guy who, what he really is just the pop situationally. I think Evan Gattis is going to disappoint some fans who, don't necessarily have a lot of experience with how Showdown takes on base percentage and turns it into the on base number, and are going to be a little distraught at seeing a guy with the reputation of hitting so many home runs with such a low on base.
yeah, but
Gattis is a 5.
this is the old. I can't remember all their players, like Brant Brown, I think was one.
Ooh,
And, some
yeah,
of those guys.
the 5 homer 13.
Yeah, these are the
Garcia.
old school. Yeah. Kareem Garcia. Yeah, these are the old school guys. Again, this guy, the downfall of this guy is DH only. But this is what you're getting with this guy. He's not going to be on a lot of teams, but he can really hit the ball if he gets the advantage. Probably not get the advantage a lot, but with, he's going to find a spot maybe on a team. But what I love about Evan Gattis is he doesn't wear batting gloves.
Nope. And it gives him the strength to get that 13 to 20 home run when he's got the advantage. Unfortunately, he's going to very seldom have that. Although with the lower controls that we have in this set, it's very possible. A lot of teams are going to have to roster control 3 or lower guys.
Yeah.
Maybe we're undervaluing it.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what people tell us back. But the next guy is the guy that loved hugging Evan Gattis and jumping koala him after a home run is Tony Kemp.
Love Tony. I know for our 2018 season, when we play it all out, Tony's going to move into the Astros starting lineup for sure. Play every position in the outfield. Gives you on base 8 with decent speed, only 16. But he's sort of really good number 6, number 7 type hitter in this lineup, where he's just going to give you that solid on base, basically a slightly lesser version of George Springer hitting wise.
Yeah, I mean, I like his story too, where he can barely make the team, and he proves himself and makes his team. I think this year officially earning his rookie season. So getting the cool little rookie icon card in the corner, which I really love the flavor of that with him as a card. But I think he'll find a spot as an 8 on base and playing all the positions.
And then Stassi, I don't think he's draftable as a 150-point catcher with a +5 arm. He's got some pop on base 6, but not really someone I would personally draft, and don't see many managers taking a chance on him.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But let's go talk about what is good with their team is their pitching staff, which besides the Indians was like the next best pitching staff in all of baseball.
Hit and Showdown.
Yes,
number 2 rotation in the set. Its worst pitcher starts it off in Dallas Keuchel, free agent, and he's your classic control 4 on at 16. No doubles is really enticing. 390 points, so I think he's going to be a lot of guys' number 3 starter.
Yeah, I do like the no double control 4 guys. They really do damage against people. I love seeing a opponent's reaction when they roll the 20 and all they got is a single.
Tough.
Yeah.
And especially when you're mixing it with Maldonado behind the plate.
Yeah.
Because that +11 keeps it from turning into a single plus type of situation on the base paths.
Yeah, I agree. And then, as most people have already seen, when I sneak peeked during the Cy Young talks, Justin Verlander almost had it this year, and many would argue probably did deserve it with the innings load that he had versus Snell. But this guy's a workhorse.
He's workhorse, and he's an absolute stud. His average innings per game wasn't quite enough to bump him to the IP7, but we sort of, and one of the card creation tweaks we do is sort of figuring out, you know, guy like Verlander, guy like Kluber, he's going to be exponentially better value wise with that extra IP. We usually give 40 points per innings pitched, and it makes a big difference. And so Verlander got roughed up a few times. We didn't really want to make it so it's so easy for him to go deep. So instead, higher control, no doubles, should be a guy who you can pitch into the seventh and eighth inning without too much difficulty at some stages, depending where you are in the lineup. But that's kind of the thought process behind the IP6 with the control 5. 1 to 16 out, 17 walk, 18 to 20 single. Going to be a very early pick in a lot of leagues.
And to go back to your IP point, I mean, this is the trend that baseball is going to anyway, is to pitch 2 times through the lineup, maybe possibly start a third, get to your bullpen early, keep your strong bullpen going. But some pitchers like a Verlander can go a little longer. He's got the control that can do it. He's got the outs that can keep him in the game, high strikeouts, no doubles, like you said. You're right. He's going to be drafted. I mean, yes, he's 570 points, but this guy is winning you showdown games.
Yes, indeed he is. And I would argue so will Garrett Cole, although he's going to be a little riskier proposition with that control 3 and the double at 20.
I love his card, though. I just like the flavor of a 1 through 18 out.
Yeah.
But that has this 19 walk, skip over the single, the double. It's a fun-looking chart. He's got the old Randy Johnson vibe with the 3 control, 1 to 18 out. And the high strikeouts, but not as deep as a pitcher, so you're going to save a lot of points there.
Yep.
I think he's great. I think a lot of people are going to take him at a 3, 1 through 18 out. And
the guy that I personally would be taking instead of Cole is Charlie Morton, who fits my ideal number 2, number 3 type pitcher, and that's a control 4, 1 to 16 out guy. A few less points, 460. Still a big strikeout range, and he does give up a double, but I like that higher control 4 or up. That's my personal standard when it comes to starting pitching.
Yeah, and that's always the debate, is where's that line? You got do I take one more control or one more out? And that's where people will always debate it.
And it feels kind of silly because oftentimes that extra 5% chance to get your own chart doesn't come into play. But for whatever reason, that's the cutoff. My experience is I just roll bad when I have a control 3. That's just my personal luck. The Randy Johnson card always got lit up.
He does. He does get lit up.
And I don't understand why he always gets lit up while my 4 1 to 16 out guys seem to consistently be sub 3 RA pitchers. But that's been my personal experience and probably a small sample size, but I'm going to ride or die with my control 4 or up.
I'll agree with you there. I mean, I actually even like control 6s that can give up home runs at 20.
Danny Eagle.
I mean, I still like those. The control 6 is huge. If you can get a control 5, control 4, have him pitch on your chart. That's what you want.
Your sneak peek ahead, you're going to be very interested in like some of the options you'll have from the Dodgers.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. Now, to the bullpen, they weren't as bad, obviously, as the Indians, but I actually thought some of them were better than they were, but there are still a handful of studs in here.
Yeah, primarily the stud is Roberto Osuna, controversial figure, but a absolute beast of a card. Control 4, 1 to 18 out. Small sample size this year, but we couldn't leave him out. One of the best relievers in the game.
Yeah, I mean, he came over from the Blue Jays, right? And 4 with 1 through 18's out. I mean, this guy's a stud.
Yeah,
people are drafting him for
points.
Sure. Yeah, that's the tough part. I mean, you're talking like Billy Wagner type territories from the original Showdown, but I think people are going to definitely risk it for this guy if they can shut him down. I do you could pitch a pitcher 2 games in a row, and then he has to rest a game. If you're getting this guy in 2 games in a row, and shutting things down, I mean, this seems like a good card to do that.
Yeah, and just imagine him plus Hader to come in. I honestly, because we're currently, we just finished the NLCS. In my current 2017 season, World Series upcoming, and then there'll be a post about it. But our NLCS Brewers literally, rather than pitch a control 3 1-17 out, just had a bullpen game, and it worked. It legitimately, they won Game 4 by just using bullpen guys, and it's using guys like Asuna 2 to 3 innings. And if you just load up on them, you can afford to punt some starting pitcher positions and just hand it over to your studs.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what people think of people like Asuno, and I'm really excited to see what people's take is once people really get a feel for Hader. Was he worth the value in points? I know the people in my league and people outside my league that have seen him are super excited to watch him perform. Obviously it's rolling dice and lucky, but it is fun to go, he was worth 400 and something points. Is he worth it? And if he's shutting people down, everyone's going to love him. If he's not, it is what it is. But he's such a fun card to do that too.
Oh, for sure. The other really valuable relievers on this team, Colin McHugh, giving you that control 4 1-17 out. I've always been a huge fan of those guys. Usually, setup men that you bring in can handle 1 or 2, definitely 1 inning. Sometimes you push to 2, especially if you start them in the middle of the order and then let that control 3 part come in against the bottom. And then Will Harris, my favorite, the typical control 4 1-16 out for a measly 150 points. Very easy to roster.
Yeah, those guys will be picked up, I assume. I even see people probably picking up Hector Rondon. He's a control 3, but
no double.
No double. But 100 points is where I see like people like they like to
affordability.
Exactly. I've spent so much salary on Justin Verlander. Where am I going to pick up some value at? Well, this guy's not going to kill you. 1-15 out, very standard there. No double is huge. Yes, he's a 3, I know, but for 100 points, that's where you start to go, is this a guy that can fit into my team, save me some salary cap? Can I afford an Alex Bregman? Can I afford a, Justin Verlander or someone else?
Well, then the bold managers may feel that way about Brad Peacock, who
very bold.
So he does give up the home run, but 1 to 12 strikeout range, 70 points less than Rendon, but actually he's 1 tier better than Rendon. So still a control 3, but instead of 1-15 out, 1-16 out. So it's all about whether or not the extra 5% chance of giving up a walk for Hector is worth more than the 5% chance of giving up a home run.
I mean, it scares
that Brad Peacock gives.
It scares me, but you're right. I mean, you're only bringing in for 3 outs, 6 outs, depending. 3 outs. Maybe you're only bringing him in for 1 or 2 outs.
Or maybe just garbage time games.
Yeah.
Save other arms. If he's your stat guy that you're just filling in your 4th or 5th bullpen spot, might be worth the cheap area and then bringing him in, when the games are out of hand one way or the other.
It's not bad. I mean, I definitely could see someone probably grabbing him for 30 points and saying, I just need a quick 3 outs here. I'm facing the bottom of their lineup where these guys are 7s and 6s on base. I can get the advantage, and I'll take that 5% chance that it's not going to happen to a home run. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and so overall, 5,060 points. So the Astros definitely cheaper this season than last year. Be interesting if they end up making a move for one of the big free agents to add, and especially if Springer and Correa get back to their previous production, how good the 2019 Astros are going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see and how it has developed from 2017 to 2018, and then what will 2019 be. But I'm hoping at least for this year, people enjoy the Astros. They enjoy playing with them. There's some draftable people here. And then obviously next week we'll see these great Dodgers that are going to pop out.
It's going to be a lot of points.
All right. Thank you again, Peter.